It's the Friggin Soccer Show, bub.
Hey, Hearts fans, welcome back to the Friggin Soccer Show. I'm back in the studio here with Chaz and Rob here in the Knack Factory studio. And, you know, Kurt really taking care of us, taking the posture into account. We got a nice little new setup here. Backs on the chairs. Slouching is not going to be an issue in this episode.
Not a problem.
Not a problem at all. So thank you, Kurt, for our studio sponsorship here at the Knack Factory, taking care of us here today. Charles, one more week is what he said he needed for his back. We certainly totally understand and support that. Take care of yourself, Charles. Follow the doctor's orders. Heal up nice. Much like our Hearts players and Jaden Jones-Riley coming back last week. Coming back from that knee injury. Do the right thing. Heal yourself up. We'll see you when we see you.
But also get back to work, Charles.
We'll see you in 8 hours.
Yeah. You're going to start cracking the whip. This is the last hit. This is last hit. This is the last one right here. This is the weekend. This is it. So we find ourselves finally coming back to Fitzpatrick Stadium. This is our off weekend here, Easter weekend. This is when we're recording. This is the last weekend that the Hearts are going to have off here before we get into our home Fitzpatrick Stadium game against One Knox. So certainly want to start off with Rob. Returning to Fitzpatrick Stadium, just kind of give me a little bit of what you're looking forward to. We've been pent up for some 6 months now. Between the off season and between traveling around and the away matches that we've gone to down in New Jersey with the Cosmos and traveling up to Vermont and what that all was and watching them out west and Sarasota, and finally we're going to get back into Fitzpatrick Stadium. How are you feeling about getting back to Fitzy?
Yeah, I'm excited. We haven't really been back there since October because we didn't really see any home playoff games last year. And we've been on the road this whole season, and we've had our ups and downs, so a lot of downs recently. So I think getting back, something we talked a lot about at the end of the last episode was that getting back is going to be good, not just for us as fans, because we're going to enjoy Fitzpatrick, go for the energy that 6,000 people in that stadium really gives, but also transfer that energy onto the players on the pitch. We have a lot of new guys that haven't played at Fitzpatrick before. They need to understand what the passion is in this city for soccer. And then also we have some guys that, just haven't felt that in 6 months.
Yeah.
And they need, I think, that reminder right now to kind of frame themselves into the rest of this campaign. So I'm excited personally. I want to get back in section 119, screaming in the zoo. But then also, like I said, I think the guys need it.
Yeah, Chaz, thoughts on getting back to Fitzy? Top couple of things that you're really looking forward to when you get back to Fitzpatrick Stadium?
I think it's fitting that it's One Knoxville again.
Second
year in a row.
Second year.
Because it's One Knoxville and Naples, so we're literally on track. I'm having deja vu with how the season started. Back to One Knoxville. The only difference is what I'm excited for is, again, I still think we have a great roster. That's for another time, but also it's going to be beautiful out. So far, it's going to be 60 degrees out, so it's going to be great weather.
You did not knock on wood when you said that.
I don't care. I don't care.
Oh,
because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Even if it's bad weather, I don't care. At this point,
so when it's pouring rain on opening day, it's Chaz.
I don't care. Find me.
I mean, we did rain for what? The first like 6 or 7 matches last season. It felt like
doesn't really matter. But I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for again having the feeling of being there. Just seeing. I mean, honestly, seeing Boise is like seeing us because it's gonna be amazing. I think this is gonna be what we need. I don't think it's going to be the official what gets us over the hump to get us win. I'll be happy with a tie. I'll be happy with the win as well. But I think it's going to be good to get the boys home and get the season really kicked off.
Yeah, so for me, getting into Fitzpatrick Stadium is just getting around the collective again. For me, it's just kind of getting back and seeing the people that you didn't really get a chance to see in the off season, and some people just don't have the ability for one reason or another to be able to travel and get to some of the away days, right? So the away days that a few of us went to, you don't get to see the same people, and you got to get back into Fitzpatrick Stadium again, and you get to the vendors and the food and the ambiance and the smells and the sights and sounds and everything at Fitzpatrick Stadium. And, some more stuff that we'll talk about here, maybe just a little bit later, but new things that'll be happening in Fitzpatrick Stadium. We'll touch up on more of that later, but that's just something that I was really looking forward to, is just kind of getting back into the usual, I want to call it, grind is the wrong word, but kind of getting into the usual pace of things.
The opposite of grind. We do not want it to be a grind. It is going to be a groove. It is going to be a nice, well-sculpted groove we are getting into.
Yeah, maybe. Groove is what I was looking for. Thank you. Grind is the opposite. Thank you. We're looking to get into a groove. Very much. We are looking to get a little bit of home cooking.
Yeah, now you knock on that wood.
And we're looking to get back into a groove.
Yeah. Maybe we can go out like a regrounding.
Yeah.
Regrounding. If you see all of us without wearing shoes on, you know what's going on. We're regrounding ourselves. As
We're all going to do yoga collectively right before the match.
Onto the turf. Yeah.
We're all going around knocking on wood, like trying to find 4-leaf clovers, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Our home matchup is going to be against One Knoxville, like previously discussed. Hearts coming into this 1-1. The Neapolitan ice cream of our record, basically 1-1. And we go against One Knox, which has been busy in the season so far, the early part of the season. 3 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw for One Knox. So they're doing well for themselves in the first 5 matches this year. And, they've actually gone through quite a bit of matches in the last 11 days, prior to Sarasota, and actually including Sarasota with, 4 matches in 11 days and really kind of getting through it. But they have that 1 week off between Sarasota and us, so they get to hit the reset button a little bit. But they also have an Open Cup match against DC United in 3 days after they played Fitzpatrick Stadium. So, Chaz, are they thinking about that?
I think they are. I think this is definitely the round of the Open Cup where, because I know it's I think we were talking about this earlier, it's like, I think it's the purses. The last League One team to stand gets the bonus. So I would think, there's plenty of league games to go. Why not try and go for that purse while you can? I mean, they've already had quite a battle. I would think you would. I mean, of course, I think they're going to start. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be a bad team on Tuesday. Right. They're not going to have their practice team against us. But I would think you might prioritize the DC game. Why not? This is the round, because I think it's only Omaha and Charlotte are the only 2 left from USL League One. They're all playing very high-end teams. It's like, if you can pull off at least a 1-0 win, win yourself whatever the amount of money is. I mean, this league, you need the money. An extra, I don't know, what's like $50,000 or something like that? $25,000?
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
I mean, it may not sound like a lot, but...
Yeah, well, we know that they had a lot of player turnover in the offseason, right. Which, we don't know, but I think a lot of us think that they loaded up pretty hard to make a playoff push. And then they did end up winning the league, so they were successful in that. But we did see a lot of their top-end players, who most likely were the most expensive, leave the club in the offseason. So... I'm not saying they're under financial pressure, but I do think that this season they're not able to spend as much as they did last year.
Right. So I mean, I think it'll still be a good game. I'm not too worried about it, but I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we do see maybe like a Jordan Skelton who might be injured. He stays off. I am excited to actually see the Kruchnikov, their 21-year-old striker. Yeah. He's the replacement for Tempest Tequila.
He looked good early.
He's been very good. So, but then again, I'm not too worried about him because I know we will have Breck, we will have Green, who I think will be more than enough of a center back to stop that little gnome up front.
So, Rob, do you think we're going to see a rotated side for One Knox?
I question that. I really don't know. Because, there's a lot of different things that coach thinks about before they go into a match. Frankly, I don't know if you want to prioritize the league or you want to prioritize the Open Cup. The only reason I say that is the last couple years we've seen MLS teams really put the hammer to USL One clubs and even championship clubs when they have a face-to-face meetup. You know, it used to be that when those teams would play, the MLS might play a lot of reserve players, or they might play people from their youth system. They haven't done that the last couple of years, and I think people are starting to notice that. So if I'm coaching One Knox and I'm going into this match, I'm saying, DC United's got a much more professional bench than I do. I'm going to prioritize winning against Portland, and we're just going to see what happens when we play DC United. But, you never know. It could go the other way.
Sounds like you're calling the coach soft. Hey, we're gonna go. We're gonna go beat up that guy, but that big dude, we're not gonna fight him.
The guy literally won the league last year. So no, I am not going to say that he's soft. But I'm just saying. The reality is, I think last year, did any USL One team beat an MLS club when they went head to head?
No,
I don't think they did exactly. No. So.
And we are seeing MLS teams a little bit early this year because of the World Cup and all that other stuff. So
right.
This is like a round early for MLS sides.
Right, exactly.
Well, this it's still early in the season. This is the time to catch them off guard. Like, this is possibly the time DC United's not too great. At least the last time I checked, unless some things have changed, I would be like, this might be an opportunity to be like, you now have that under your belt.
I think it's a welcome distraction, but I don't know that we should bank. I don't feel comfortable saying that's how we're going to win the game, is if One Knox goes and only plays their second string roster.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to look at it from this angle is, this is a round early for the MLS sides to come into the Open Cup. One Knox is sitting in 3 wins already in the first 5 matches. We all know how the USL League One season tends to go in terms of the first part of the season, and as long as it's summertime, as long as you're kicking in, you've got enough time to get enough points to get up in the playoff spots and where you want to be. So I'm going to say One Knox is sitting on 3 wins early. They're in pretty good spot. I think they're going to probably be selective with their roster. I'm not going to say a fully turned over roster. I'm not going to say a fully turned over roster, but I think there's going to be a few people that the coach is going to go, I really would like to see him fresh for DC United.
I think you're putting the cart in front of the horse, but you know what? We'll see what happens, I guess, 45 minutes before kickoff when they put out the roster.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think there's a chance we see a few select people out of that One Knox with them looking at DC United, and a chance to turn over an MLS side. It might be too much to look past.
I've made my comment.
So Rob, I'll come right back to you in terms of the Hearts side of things. Just in terms of, we've seen 23 players get their cleats dirty so far this year out of the 26 on the roster. So we've seen plenty of people in a plethora of different formations and different positions and different matchups and all kinds of things. And when we played One Knox and we talked a little bit about maybe what that lineup might possibly look like. What is your first stab at what that lineup might look like for the Hearts of Pine?
Yeah, I think a big question for me is what we have in terms of fitness from players. Bobby said as recently as the town hall that the club had, the online forum, that we still had players that had some fitness problems. And the goal of this 2-week period that we're in the middle of right now is to get everyone to a level of fitness where they can play. So assuming we get there and assuming we actually do have maximum availability, I think the most important people to put on the pitch are Breck Evans on the back line.
100%.
Mikey Lopez in the midfield, and up top is Titus Washington.
Yep.
If those 3 guys are in the roster, I think we're good. And I don't want to discount the other person that was missing from our last match, which was Ollie Wright.
Yeah.
I really hope Ollie's back and
you're just thinking right down the spine.
I'm thinking down the spine, but I'm thinking of that in terms of not just the spine, but also, there's been sections missing. It seems like every game we seem to have a line that's not quite gelling. And I think that's the leadership right there. Yep. Those are the guys that are going to make sure that every single part of this team works as we transition a ball and move it up the pitch. And if we're lacking leadership on any line, we've had a lot of problems with falling apart this season. And I think those 3-4 players, if you count Ollie, are what we need to make sure things happen.
Okay. So let's do this a different way. Let's make this a collective in a lineup for the Hearts of Pine. Let's try to put something together here and kind of on the fly. Kind of maybe give me our back four. Chaz will take the forwards. I'll take the midfield. What does your back line look like? One Knox this weekend.
Yeah, I think for me, definitely we want Breck in there. I would start Kamali. I think Kamali has been really good. I know you feel very strongly about Mr. Fay.
Yeah,
but I do think that's good. I would love to see if Jaden Jones-Riley can start. I don't think he's there yet.
I have opinion on that one. I think we will not see 90 minutes out of Jaden Jones-Riley this weekend. I strongly feel that way. Mm-hmm. I do think we're going to see more minutes that we saw with him against Sarasota. So I think he did like about 25-ish, 30-ish minutes or somewhere in that neighborhood in Sarasota playing on grass, right? He came in like the 63rd minute or something like that, a little bit of extra time, right? So 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I think he gets 45.
Yeah.
And you can do this one of two ways.
I was going to say, how do you do it?
You can say, Jaden, you're going to start, but ironclad, I don't care if you're feeling 1,000% out there and you're on a hat trick. Halftime, you're coming out. Mm-hmm. Don't even mention a word to me. Halftime, you're coming out. Mm-hmm. Mo, you're going in.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like that.
Which is what I would do because I don't want Jaden out there for the second half, which is potentially, if we're down, going to be more aggressive and more violent. And I don't want to risk anything happening. So I would do that. On the other side, I would not start Armour again at right back.
Okay.
I'd put any other of our options in there. I just don't know if he's great in that position. I think he might be better. He's a bit more defensive minded. He's not as great in transition and in an attacking role.
At least he hasn't shown much of it yet, anyways.
No. So put him in if you think he's going to demonstrate that. If I'm Bobby Murphy, but I don't think he is.
Okay.
I think maybe keep him in mind for maybe a swap out in a match when you need to go defensive. Put Armour on. But in terms of that back position, I know you had a hot take on who you would start playing there.
I would certainly entertain putting Menza in there.
Yeah, Menza, okay.
I guess it'd be Scarlett. Scarlett would be, obviously, if you're not going to do Armour, it would be Scarlett, then probably Menza third.
Yeah. No, but I think Menza was a good shout when you had that the other week. Cause
he's been doing a lot of good things in these first three matches. And you know what? It's all down to what Bobby wants. We all know that, right? And Bobby sees these guys in practice, and he can be like, yeah, no, Menza's the call, right? Or no, Zion's really starting to come on. They're really starting. Him and Ollie are really starting to get a collective going. I'm putting Zion in.
Yeah,
that's his time to show what he has picked up.
Yeah.
So that's a Bobby Murphy thing. But from what I've seen so far, just rearview mirror type stuff, I would have no problem with starting Menza on the left back side.
Yeah.
I would think realistically it'll probably be Zion though.
I
would say because
that's the safer. That's the more to the plan choice. Right. I would say.
Yeah.
I think what we said last time about Scarlett is just he seems to not quite fully be in that role yet, and Mensa might be an experiment we could run and see how he does.
Right. I would honestly be curious to know if it's really up to Ollie, because Ollie's if that guy's gonna be overlapping Ollie. I wonder if Bobby's actually asking Ollie like. Who do you want? Because that is going to be kind of that part.
I don't think he is.
I mean, probably not.
I don't think he is either. But I do think. I think
that's important. That is important because
that
ever since Nathan has left, that left side's looked terrible.
Yeah,
and Ollie needs someone to overlap him.
Yeah,
unless you're going to completely change how Ollie works, Ollie has to have someone overlap him.
Yeah.
Unless I don't. I mean, that's
no. Ollie has seen lost because there's no one really to feed him. Any balls.
Yeah. So, talk to me a little bit. Actually, I'll go next because this is, the midfield. We want to work from the back to the front. So, in the midfield, for me, it's going to be pretty simple. It's going to be our main three, right? So, Mikey Lopez, our captain, comes back after serving his red card against Sarasota. That was his 1 game suspension. So he comes back and he plays the number 6 position for us, of course. And MPA, back, I say back, continues at the number 8 position. And of course, Wada up front, attacking midfielder. So, I get the easy line to go ahead and call. It's going to be, Lopez and MPA and Wada as our midfield. I'm going to, leave our outside midfielders, if you will, that Bobby likes to call. I'm going to leave that to the forward line for you, Chaz. Yeah, for you. So what does our forward line look like?
Well, before we move on, I got to say that picture from Mikey Lopez's Instagram story, the Starbucks red card.
Golden.
Oh my gosh, what a dig! What a dig! That was beautiful. And he took it pretty well, which I was happy. But I liked how it was really well dug into his story. Like you had to go like 4 or 5 slides into my.
So for the people that may not know, go back and look at some Mikey Lopez Instagram socials, and you'll see what Chaz is referencing is he had a drink of sorts, and on the side on the label, usually it tells you what the drink is and how much it costs and your server and all this other stuff. And of course he's got the thumb right over the top of the server's names because he doesn't want that on his socials. But right at the top of it, where you would normally see the drink of choice, it just says red card. So certainly having some fun with the captain, and it certainly took in good humor, and he shared it on the socials. That was some good ribbing right there.
Yeah, absolutely. It was beautiful. So all right, but anyway, so yeah, I mean, of course, Ollie's going to be on the left.
Left wing, Ollie right.
You put Wada at
attacking midfield.
So because that's what 4-3. Okay, so 4-3-3. Okay, so it'd probably be definitely Ollie on the left. Center, I'm still stuck really between. I know Titus is going to start, but I think there's a very good reason.
I don't think we know that.
I would.
So you're at the point, right, where you're going to decide: are we playing a 4-2-3-1 single striker, or are we going to sacrifice our right winger and put 2 strikers up top?
Well, because if we're doing a 4-3-3.
I don't think we're going to play a 4-3-3. I think we're going to play either a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2. We saw Bobby Murphy messing with a couple of double strikers up top. So that's your choice to make, calling the forward line.
I would probably say we'll see Titus up top.
No, I think we should have Titus up top.
That is because
So you're going single striker.
I think it would probably be Ollie, Titus, and then I honestly think the one is going to be Kunga on the right. Because I've seen him, he's been a lot very active in just terms of the Hearts media days stuff on his own story. I think he's ready to go.
You think it's time?
I think it might be time for unless I see Walter. My other one's Walter Varela.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of Walter this season at all.
Completely absent from anything. So I think it's truly going to be Kunga, and then of course JT Kamara comes in later.
So you think Kunga gets the start?
I think there's a good reason to. I mean, just the way he's been on socials, the way he's been to these practices, I think that it's because
I don't think it's a bad idea, but it throws a little bit of a wrench into putting Jane Jones-Riley on. Because I do think if you put Kunga on, you do the same thing. You want to manage his minutes because he would be coming on for the first time. So I don't think you want to have 2 players on the pitch that are under a minute management plan.
I mean, well, because we know that right wing's going to get changed.
Yeah,
we know those positions are going to get changed.
Yeah,
so it's not like.
I mean, it would. I guess actually now thinking through it as we're talking about it, I guess that would mean you just run the first half down the right, take them off, and then transition play in the second half down the left.
Correct. Or even on the right, if you keep once you put Momo in, then you put JT Kamara in, then if Titus isn't working out, you put like a Boo in.
I tell you what, I certainly like the idea of seeing it at least for 45 minutes with Kunga on the right and Jaden Jones-Riley at right back, and seeing those guys play off each other. Yeah. At least for 45 minutes. We might see both of those guys come off at the half, like we talked with Jaden, right? Could be the same exact thing for Kunga. They could both come off at the half. But just to maybe see that play out for 45 minutes, it's intriguing.
Yeah. Because I mean, outside of that, I mean that would be it would be Ollie, Titus, and then Kunga, and then Kunga would probably come out for JT Kamara, and then either Titus would come out for a Boo. Because again, Boo's our only remaining 25-day contract. Okay. So I know Armour got signed. So unless he's not been doing great, I mean, he has scored a goal for us. Unless
for the opportunity he has had on the field, it looks like he's been doing well to me.
Right. So I would think he would probably need to get at least another game in before we decide, buddy, sorry, pack it up, or we're signing for another year.
Right. Yeah.
I think that would be kind of unfair to say that, hey, you've scored a goal for us, but see you later.
Does the emergence of Tyler Huck muddy the waters on that?
No, I think Tyler Huck's going to be. I think he'll come in later. I think Naples is probably going to be if this is a total disaster. I think Huck comes in. I think Huck will definitely be on the bench, but I think Huck is, if God forbid, this is a disaster up front, Huck comes in against Naples.
Okay. Do you think Huck is in the squad for the One Knox game?
Yeah, I think he's
because
on the bench.
we discussed he's not in the starting lineup, but is he on the bench?
Yeah, he's absolutely on the bench. Because I mean, he could probably come in for let's say if we do switch to like two strikers up top, you do maybe go to like an Emilio and a Titus or a Tyler or a Titus and a Huck. That would be very scary to have two of those guys kind of coming forward.
I do want to see Titus and Huck
I think that would be
play
fun.
together.
Yeah.
That'd be really fun.
If we could do another 2-striker deal, I would love to see those two together.
Yeah.
All right, so we kind of walked through our lineup. That's going to be the starting lineup from the Friggin Soccer Show. That's going to be our starting 11 against One Knoxville. So let's talk a little bit about kind of what that's going to look like, that One Knox game, and maybe kind of what we're going to have to deal with from at least the One Knox perspective. I was kind of taking a look at some of their matches, and they had a right back, which is going to be a question mark right now. He was playing really, really well too, but he came off in the 31st minute injury. I don't know how severe. It could have been a tweak. Maybe he's fine. Maybe he's going to come back. Maybe he's going to be out for a little bit. I don't know, but. Jaheim Brown, number 26 for One Knox, was looking really, really good in the first part of this season. That would be a player, if healthy, if he's in the lineup, that's going to be a tough defender for Ollie Wright to go up against. Thoughts on that matchup?
I mean,
if he's in the lineup,
again, I'm not too worried about that side. Again, I'm more thinking unless we till we figure out what is on that. If Ollie, I don't know how many one-on-ones Ollie's going to have in this matchup. I think this is definitely we're going to see hopefully more going through the midfield or going through the right side. Until we figure out what's going on that back line, I don't know if we're going to really see it. I really don't think it'll matter too much.
I hope you're right, because I will say that our crosses have been really crappy this season. Right. It's kind of the same thing we saw last season, which has been disappointing. You get a guy who runs all the way up to, top of the pitch, then he crosses and there's just no one there.
Yeah.
It's like they're doing drills from practice, but there's something not connecting. Someone's not getting there to get that ball. So I do hope we go through the midfield and avoid a situation like that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I could even see maybe even Ollie and Wada, because Wada seems to be kind of moving quite a bit. I mean, so theoretically, Brown may not just be going up against Ollie. I could see Wada kind of being someone who they swatch, because it's like, oh, you got to switch.
Yep.
Then you got to have
move Ollie towards the center of the field, and Wada goes out to the left.
Because Ollie does not have a bad foot to put a ball on net.
We've seen him many a times running into the top of the box and curling into the corner, right?
Yeah.
I'd argue those are his best goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can totally see that. See that.
So, not too worried, but it would be nice if he's not there.
Another player that they've got on the attacking side of things is their left winger, Braudillo, Braudilio.
Yeah.
So apologize for the pronunciation. I'm sure I hacked the crap out of that one, but no, he's hit a purple patch in the last couple of matches here for One Knox, and coming off the left wing. That is something that we're going to have to look to defend on the right side. So I'm talking about Jaden Jones-Riley. I'm talking about Mikey Lopez. I'm talking about the center back on the right center back that we started. I believe it was Kamali Green, Rob. So those are the people that are going to have to kind of take on that left winger. And that is certainly something that at least I'm going to be looking at from a One Knox attacking perspective that we're going to have to deal with, and how we're going to match up against that on our defensive right side.
I'll tell you what I want to stop seeing. I want to stop seeing gaps between the two center backs.
Yeah.
It's been an issue.
And the defensive midfield.
Yeah, and I think that's mostly because Barek has been a little absent the last couple of games.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really notice it.
He hasn't played at all after the season opener.
Right. I didn't really notice it at the Cosmos game, but every game since then, there have been moments where there have been gaps between the two center backs, and we haven't really had anyone covering kind of the space between the midfield line and the center back. So we've had a lot of guys hanging out at the top of our box. Mm-hmm. So I think if we're able to kind of figure that situation out, and I think Mikey Lopez being on the pitch will help with that significantly.
Certainly.
I think if we can resolve that, the back line is the one I'm the least concerned about for this match.
I mean, outside of him being on the right side and then Kruchnikov in the center. Yeah, we got to keep those gaps closed because they will take. But then again, I don't think that's really our issue here. I mean, really, we've only let up 1 goal in 3 games.
Is that correct?
2 goals. Sorry, 2 goals.
Yeah, I was going to say
correct,
2
2 goals.
All comps. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just more of that offense.
But we haven't scored one since the season opener.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not too worried about the defense, more the offense. I think
right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think our defensive line can deal with the issues, even if they're not technically perfect. I think they're gonna be serviceable. And also remember, it's a narrower pitch, so that will help them. Cover the space a bit better. But yeah, the midfield needs to figure itself out, and our attacking element needs to figure out how to put a ball on the back of the net.
So we went through the lineup. We went through our possibilities that we're going to have to deal with on the defensive side of things against One Knox, and maybe what their roster may or may not look like, depending on how much they're going to value that DC United match 3 days after they face us here this coming weekend. And so we're into the prediction side of this matchup. So we talked about trying to find some organization in this Hearts side. Coming back to Fitzpatrick Stadium, hopefully some home cooking. We see some more positive things on the field than we have seen in the past, 3, call it 4 matches if you want to include the Open Cup match. Rob, how do you see this stacking up?
Yeah, I think a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw, straight up? Yeah?
Yeah, I think our defenses are good. I'm going to give one out just because I think they are a really good side. Their current season record stands in testament to that. So I think they can get one in. I don't really know exactly how. Maybe it's a penalty, maybe it's a corner. I think they're a good enough side to squeeze one out, even though our defenses are really well locked down. I'm hoping we can get a goal, but like we've talked about a moment ago, my biggest concern is our attacking element and making sure that we're actually able to get through another team's defenses because we've been very disjointed up top this season.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm really hoping to see a lot of forward attacking prowess for the Hearts. I think we're at a point now where we really need to start seeing it. I'm not talking full-blown guns a-blazing mid-season swing. We are like a house of fire. No, I want to actually see some deadly shots on goal where we're really putting One Knox on their heels.
It's a passion problem,
yeah,
is what I would honestly say, because they just don't. And I know this is maybe not true, but like looking at the matches, the want to get to the ball has not always been there. We've seen it from a couple players, Tyler Huck, Masashi Wada. We've seen them really want to get that ball. Everyone else, maybe it's a systemic thing, but they just haven't really wanted it.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about this, and we're using things like organization and them getting to play together as maybe that is a reason why some of that is happening. I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick prediction on this one. I think we lose 1-0 at home. I don't think we have it in us to put a goal in the back of the net on this stingy defensive One Knox side. I think they put the right players in their starting lineup to keep us out of the back of the net, and we don't have the organization solved yet, and we don't get on the board at home. And I think One Knox just grinds it out on us. They get a goal in, and they go away with 3 points at Fitzpatrick Stadium. I don't think we've got the pieces solved in that attack.
So what solves the pieces, though, Sean? Because, we're right now week 3 into Bobby Murphy's stated, I need 6 more weeks to get the team up to speed.
Yep.
So what needs to happen to get us there?
We need starting players in starting positions over a series of games, and we haven't seen it. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen it. So even if our perfect starting 11 that we have just put out there as that is the starting 11 we want to see, even if we hit it 100% against One Knox, they still need a little bit of run of games to kind of get it under their belt and kind of get motivated. Not motivated. Motivated is the wrong word, but get used to all playing together as a group. Mm-hmm. Right? That is Bobby Murphy's starting 11. Boom. There it is. Now run 2 or 3 games, get used to playing with each other. That at the end of that 3-game stretch of that 11 hitting the pitch every single time, or at least in a series of 3 games, at the very least, you're going to start seeing what that starting 11 can do on the attacking side of things. And in my opinion, we're not going to see that this weekend. Chaz?
I agree with Charles. I think we're going to get a 1-1.
Charles?
I think.
I'm Charles?
Oh, Rob.
It's the beard. You're thinking.
I know.
Is Charles
I was
phoning in? Are you
hallucinating,
listening to him
sorry.
in your ear?
Yeah, yeah.
Charles is whispering in your ear.
I know. I miss him. I want to yell about referees right now. But yeah, I agree with Rob. I think it'll be a 1-1 because I think Knoxville hasn't played on this season yet, has not played on a narrow pitch yet. So I think the narrow pitch will definitely help. And if Jaden Jones-Riley does start, I think Jaden Jones-Riley, I've been preaching it this entire time. I think he is definitely the key to getting, and even Breck. I've seen even Breck do it. Breck will put those long balls out. He will put those balls over the top. So depending on who is out in front, I think we're going to see a lot more, maybe not necessarily crosses, but those like getting over the halfway line and then just putting something in. Because that's really, I believe, Titus's strong suit. I think, or at least what he needs is, let's just get the ball up to him and have him run onto it. And I think Jaden Jones-Riley will be that. So if Jaden Jones-Riley starts there and Breck's starting, I think we squeeze one out with, because it's a different type of pitch, closer, you just have to put him forward. Get that ball forward. I think we'll squeeze out a 1-1. And since for the joke, Morris isn't going to be in goal, so he'll probably let one in. But it'll be through grit. It'll be a great ball. It's going to be a pretty ball.
We did skip over the keeper argument, and before we started recording, we did have a very strong conversation about that.
We did.
Yeah. So I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. The prophecy's written itself from last year. Some tough games at the beginning, 1-1 draw at the beginning. I just hope that we score at least first. So yeah,
I think for my own joy and happiness, I hope they score first because I don't want to be an angry man in the stands the whole game.
Yeah, not really. That would be bad.
So the prediction is 1-1, 1-1, and a loss 1-0 to One Knox.
Yeah, you think about that on the drive home.
It brings me no joy to predict a loss at home.
That's depressing, Sean. That's really depressing.
It brings me no joy whatsoever. But it's what I see.
I was ready to get into it with you and really disagree, but I see what you're talking about. I really do. I think Chaz and I are being a little hopeful, but at the same time, I think you're right. It would be their first time playing on an narrow pitch, and they have to deal with a fairly vicious crowd. So
I think the best we can hope for, and if all the puzzle pieces come together, if you want to throw that one out there, is if maybe One Knox really rotates their side out, they're really prioritizing DC United. We put a lot of our big starting 11 players that we discussed. They all get on the pitch. They had a great week of practice. They've got some stuff up their sleeves, and they execute on a rotated side of One Knox at home. There's a chance that we can get a win. There's a chance. I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. We got to get some run time with this starting 11 before and then see what these guys are doing and how they're playing with each other. And how they're putting the ball in the back of the net and getting that attacking confidence in the side, we can start predicting wins. But until then, 1-1. We seem like we're acres and acres away from that 3-1 win in Cosmos.
Yeah,
it seems like it's almost last year.
Yeah,
and it was only some mid to the end of March. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
so. Wish I had better news for you, but that's what I got.
I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm still hopeful. I think it'll change. We got to start at some point.
So we're going to go ahead and roll into USL League One results. So again, this was a off weekend for the Hearts of Pine, and we're going to go ahead and just kind of go over some of the score lines. Hearts stay stagnant on their 4 points that they have in the league so far, and they'll naturally slip down the table, but, they didn't get a chance to play. So that'll sift out as the year goes on and everyone catches back up and all that sort of stuff. But so the first score line, 3-2, New York Cosmos versus Greenville Triumph. The Cosmos win at Hinchcliffe Stadium over Over Green.
It wasn't Charlotte.
It was Charlotte. Yeah, I got
Charlotte,
that one mixed up. Thank you. Over Charlotte. It was a 3-2 scoreline on a rare Spengler pen trick. 3 penalties converted, all by Spengler. Rob, have you ever seen such a thing?
No, that's pretty crazy. It kind of like breaks my mind a little bit. One, that they had Spengler take every single penalty, which I think says something about Spengler.
Yeah.
Like he really is the core of that Cosmos team.
He's an awesome player.
And an amazing player. I feel kind of bad for the Charlotte keeper because, what do you think going home after that? Like, you literally had 3 chances to save a pen on the same guy.
Yeah.
And you miss every single one. I don't know if that says something about him or if it says something about Spengler. Probably Spengler. But, Jesus, what was going on in the box in that game? Like, Charlotte, you got to work on your, aggressiveness inside your own box.
I wish Charles was here for this. I even messaged him. I was like, Charles, please tell me you're watching this game. It was that ref. That was awful. I mean, it was some of the weakest penalties inside the box. I mean, one of them, the guy literally jumped. He jumped over the edge of the box, and the guy put it in. The first pen was him literally full on Micah Richards diving over the corner of the box. He's like, yeah, that was a penalty in the box. They were all weak. But yes, I don't know if it's really more Spengler. I think the Cosmos are doing exactly right. I think they're taking a page out of Madison's book, where Madison was like, Gebhardt, you're our guy. We're going to build a team around you. Cosmos is doing the same, where it's like, this is the Spengler show.
It's no secret. Spengler is running the show.
Spengler is the guy. He's
the guy.
Yeah, his Robin is Coffee, and then they have a great goalie now and back, Derek Chan. I don't know why Derek Chan wasn't the goalie when he played us. But no, it was probably maybe one of the worst. I would say that will probably be one of the worst officiated games. I'm happy for the Cosmos that they won, but that was probably, at this point, the worst officiated game of the season.
Yeah, so the next matchup, just a 1-0 score line, typical score line for FC Naples that actually play Greenville.
Yes.
Down on their welcome mat carpet of a pitch down there. So they got a 1-0 score line there. Then of course, Sarasota versus One Knox. As previously discussed, One Knox flipping over Sarasota down there, winning 3 points on the road, 2-1. So Sarasota drops home points to One Knox. I don't think it was the first time Sarasota has lost at home. I had that in the back of my head. I thought maybe it was, but I don't think it is.
Didn't they lose their season opener?
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking. I think they probably did. And then the late matchup was AV Alta out west. Union Omaha flies out, makes the West Coast trip. And beats AV Alta at their place 3-1. More 3 points, away 3 points for Union Omaha, and AV Alta winless on the season so far.
Yeah, they are not looking good this season. I kind of feel for them because I think they're an interesting club, with seemingly a fairly good fan base, and they just did not really invest enough, I think, in the offseason in their roster to kind of make it this year. So.
Yeah, I thought, AV Alta, I believe they picked up a goalkeeper and kept a lot of returning players from last year. And I thought maybe that would be kind of the difference for them, but I think they've got 2 or 3 draws and now this loss.
They got speed, but they don't really have a tactic outside of that. They're run fast, try to get a goal in, catch people off guard, and I just don't think that is enough for them.
And I think few would argue the marquee match of the weekend was AC Boise basically opening up their home stadium against the Spokane Velocity.
Yeah.
I think it's an odd thing to say coming from a city where before we started playing, people were like, wait, Portland, Maine is a soccer city? But really? People in Idaho like soccer? What?
I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. It makes the perfect little triangle. They don't really have a lot of pro sports out there, so probably any pro sport they have out there, probably really about it. I know their minor league hockey team, the Steelheads, that was a really big thing for them. So, I mean, does it surprise, I guess, maybe the hardcore sports fans? Probably not. But yeah, when you think about it, you're like, why does Boise have? I mean, if you look at that stadium, I'm so happy. They did it so right, too. The camera faces the grandstand. Seeing that grandstand was like...
That's a beautiful shot.
It was a beautiful shot. I was like...
It's a real soccer grandstand,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Which I think was maybe there, because I think that used to be like a county fairgrounds I was reading.
Yep.
So like that was there from like, I presume when they had livestock shows and whatnot in front of it.
I'm
But,
not
like,
sure. I'm not sure if that is a new built grandstand or if
Yeah.
it was repurposed. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but yeah, they're in
But
this-
it's nice.
Yeah, it is. It's a gorgeous shot.
It's an immaculate. It's in the athletic club on the like spelled in the top. It looks good. I can't hate it.
Makes you a little jealous.
And pissed.
In time. We'll definitely have some changes here at Fitzy or elsewhere and what that'll look like in the future. But in time, we'll have our own place to call home and maybe look a little bit similar or different for good reasons. But maybe, more people coming into Fitzpatrick Stadium to watch the Hearts. But to get back to the Boise-Spokane match, they set I'm going to call it a regular season attendance record because, of course, the actual record was at the 2025 USL League One final with 7,500 people there at One Knoxville. And AC Boise, basically, they have, I think the official number, we heard like 3 different numbers, one during the broadcast, one from people that were actually there and what they heard announced. And then there was like a prediction of like 8,000 people. I don't know where that number came from. But there was like 3 different numbers. The official number is 7,211 people that has bought tickets, and assumed all of them were there to watch AC Boise and Spokane come to a 1-1 draw. And the funny thing is, I kind of looked through some of these attendance records, and the top 3 League One final last year, Boise there this past weekend, and of course the third one, our 64-40, when they got drummed 6-1 here at Fitzpatrick Stadium.
Good times.
All 3 Spokane Velocity is the guest for those attendance records. So I guess what we're learning is if you want to set an attendance record, Spokane Velocity's got to be the invite.
Yeah.
Guess
And
so.
and right now the record's 2-0-1. So
Yeah. Yep.
you likely win it too.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and we'll shift gears and kind of get into want to talk a little bit about the some notes, some takeouts here for the Hearts Summit on the Hearts of Pine YouTube channel that had just recently this week. The Hearts kind of taking advantage of that off week that we're talking about and kind of sitting down and kind of having a summit with the opportunity for supporters and fans alike to get in on YouTube and have some live interaction with the front office.
Yeah.
So thoughts on coming out of that, Rob? Any major takeaways that you pulled from that?
Yeah, there were, so it was kind of set up in 2 separate sections. So the first one was kind of a sporting look. We had Bobby and Mikey on there. I would say not a lot of new information there. We mostly just heard from Bobby kind of setting expectations once again, saying that, it was not an off season, or actually it was not a preseason that went according to plan. They ended up missing a lot of preseason matches. They've had some sickness, some injury,
Yeah.
So they're kind of a little bit behind right now, and they're working on it, and that these 2 weeks are for the team to kind of get up to health and fitness. More so the stuff where it was information which I think fans would be interested in was the second half, where we talked a lot more about kind of changes to Fitzpatrick coming up before opening day. So one of the big announcements that was made, which I think a lot of people are going to be interested in, is water will now be provided at matches.
That's a big plus.
Which is a big plus. That was something that a lot of fans were not huge fans of last season. So 2 things in the water. So first, there will now be water cups provided. So you'll get to go. I don't know exactly where in the stadium, but you will get to go to one specific spot. You'll get to fill a water cup, drink that, and you got free water. Also, the price of water has dropped by $1. So It's gone down 20%. It's now $4 as opposed to $5, which, is something.
It's a step it's a step in the right direction.
Which is, I think that's the club listening to feedback.
It absolutely is. Yep.
Second thing is the club has talked about having better audio for this upcoming season. So I know I noticed there were a couple games last season the audio was noticeably quieter.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they've really worked on that problem and trying to make sure the stadium sounds loud enough that there aren't noise complaints coming in from the city, which we saw a couple of those last year. Very fun to see those complaints on the city's issues tracker. But then also, making sure that it's a fun and vibrant atmosphere that the club's got going on. The last thing the club announced, which has generated some controversy within the community, is the club is going to be setting up a new party suites, which are going to be located in front of sections 119, 118, and 120. So right in front of the zoo. So this kind of got announced, leaked a little early. It came out of a supporters group meeting that happened with the club, which happens periodically. The DU meets with the club to talk about logistics and whatnot. And we heard that the club was going to be doing this, so it came up quite a bit at the summit.
Right.
So the way it's going to work is there'll be these party suites in front of sections 118, 119, and 120. It's not going to be like the $3 Dewey suites. There will not be tents. So we have been told they aren't going to block anyone's view. It's a little unclear to me how these are set up, because we did hear it's going to be like the high roller section across the field where you have seats lined up right against the boards, which in my mind at least would block players from being able to jump the boards and come over and celebrate with the supporter section, which is what I think a lot of people who sit in that section are concerned about losing.
Right.
But if you actually look online and look at the seating chart, it actually looks more like suites, like the way the $3 Dewey suites are set up. So I don't know if that's still kind of a thing that's being moved around and played with the geography of this. We did hear the club said that it will not impact celebrations with the supporters group.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. I think the only other thing I would say people talked about a little bit was the way the section was priced. So these are going to be tables, as I understand it, you buy into, similar to the High Roller Club, where it's going to be you get a table of 4. And if it's priced the same as High Roller, that's a $600 table. I don't think we know the pricing yet for sure. But
I don't.
That seemed to be a topic of conversation. Don't know. I don't think the club has released official pricing yet. So, that's just kind of something people talked about, was if this ends up being the same price as the High Roller, that's obviously a very expensive ticket comparatively.
Yeah. So, we've got the 42 seats along the boards that you just talked about. We also, the other changes there, we're going to have standing room only in behind the goal.
Yep,
right?
That's the other thing that's changed. So the kid zone last year was right up against the edge of the pitch. They've now added a separate section, the goal zone, which is going to be it's a $45 ticket. It's standing room only. That's an extra seating spot. I mean, the whole idea the club has had, which I think is the right mindset, is how do we get more people in the stadium? Because we do have a lot of people that want to go to games, and either they just can't get a ticket because there's so much demand, or they're getting price locked out because the secondary market is absolutely insane for tickets. So the club's trying to add all these things. And there's other avenues too. Like they've added last minute tickets this season, which I believe is all done on a lottery system. Like they're really trying.
They are trying.
To pack in as many seats as possible. And I do commend the club for that, because I know, I have a season ticket. My wife doesn't. Trying to get her into matches is sometimes very difficult.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thoughts of anything that came from that summit, Chaz? Anything that Rob hasn't touched upon?
I mean, the standing room only, I'm happy with it. Again, the price is a little extreme. I think maybe 30 or 35. 45 seems a little bit much for what you're getting. But overall, I do like that. I like that. I hope eventually we get another 200, 500 next season, because I think the goal is to build up to that. I'm kind of happy that they didn't do both or more, because theoretically that would be kind of bad if there was too many people. And then we have the issue of you can't get anywhere. It's just completely locked up.
Well, I think that's something that some fans have brought up about these suites that are being added in front of the zoo, especially people who tend to stand along the fence line.
Then theoretically, for the whole that thing, the only thing I'm really disappointed in is it's only 42 seats. I think that's a little ridiculous. Really, that's it, 42? Again, it's probably are people buying it. I don't really know, because it's on the track. So what if you're standing on the fence? You're not going to have a good view anyway. You're standing at high level. I don't know. I'm not too mad about it.
I mean, I am a little frustrated with it, only because as someone who sits in 119, I have always really enjoyed that we've had direct access to the players. All it takes is for them to jump the boards and they're in front of the section and we can celebrate with them. Like, my favorite moments from last season was Masashi Wada bowing in front of the section, Ollie Wright jumping the fence, finding his dad right in front of the section, or jumping up and hugging Bass. Like, those are things that were really cool and special to have happen last year. And the club has said that will be able to continue. I'm really excited next weekend to see kind of how the geography of this new section is laid out and see how that works.
I mean, who knows? Maybe it's further along that corner. Who knows? It could be. Because if it's out over more by like to the left of 120, then
it could be.
Because they can't have people too close to the away seat. The away seat's not that far. They can't have this section like right behind them. So this might all be blown over, and it actually might just be further to the left than I think it is. Hopefully,
that's my hope is that there's like an avenue open where players can still run in.
Well,
that's my hope.
They can still come around the boards, right? Like we've seen them come around the boards once before. So you're right. As far as jumping the boards, probably not a thing anymore, right?
Yeah.
But they can still come around where they take the corners where the boards kind of separate there. They can still come around the boards and stuff like that. I share the concern of sight lines being lost for people standing on the rail, right, in front of the zoo. Getting a chance to look across the field, leaning against the rail, and how those sight lines may or may not change. That's what I'm interested in seeing for the people standing on the rail. I would hate to see their vision getting taken away by those new seats getting added.
Yeah.
So that's really my main concern.
I would also just rather it just be a standing room only section.
Yeah.
I do, even if it was a $45 ticket, I think that is a lot more worth it than having, what at least a few people have pitched as, and I'm not saying it is, a VIP section.
Right.
So those are my comments. And I would encourage anyone that has thoughts, especially after you go and see how it's set up on Saturday, to email the club and let them know. And even if you like the section, email the club and let them know, because they do take feedback seriously. We see that because we have water in the stadium this season and they've upgraded the audio system. They do listen to fan feedback, so provide it.
I do. I wonder, will the Jumbotron be there still? What do we think? We haven't mentioned that. Do you think the Jumbotron will be there by the headline?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think it will be.
Did you guys like it? Did you guys like it?
I think we need a Jumbotron just
like that?
because
It'd be nice to
I
have.
think it would especially.
I think there was a temporary fixture because of how everything was kind of wrapping up towards the end of the year and us maybe getting a playoff spot, a home field playoff spot, right? So that was kind of there for all of us to kind of share together as a group if the cards fell the way they fell. But
I thought it was kind of cool. Even the small one, I liked it.
Yeah.
So that's probably gonna just about wrap it up for us here for today. Pay attention to the Friggin Soccer Show socials and and some future podcasts. We got some things simmering in behind the scenes. We're not quite ready to share it with you yet, but pay attention to those socials and some future podcasts. We got some changes brewing. And we're talking to some people, and we're really excited at what we got coming forward in the next 2 and 3 episodes. Even it's going to be that short of a turnaround, quite possibly, and we're really excited about how this show is beginning to evolve. Ideas are starting to become realized. We're right on the front of some change with this show, and it's kind of an exciting time here for the Friggin Soccer Show. And as always, we say, up the Hearts.
Up the Hearts.